Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.
Hello and welcome to the Psych Legal Pop Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a therapist. I'm Brooke Brigham, I'm the attorney.
And I'm Tess Brigham, I'm the therapist.
And it is Sister Wives Day. We're back, season 19, episode 2. And this was a great episode. I think more happened in this episode than probably 2 or 3 seasons combined. Previously. We got a lot of, good information about the finances, the money.
Yeah.
And then at the end, after we talk about the episode, we're going to talk about the child support.
Mm-hmm.
Christine has filed a petition for custody and child support, and this is very exciting to me. So,
and you have to explain it to me because I've read a few articles and I'm still a little confused about how all this works.
Well, we're going to break it all down.
Okay, great.
That's going to be at the end. So stick
very
around.
Exciting.
Stick around.
Very exciting.
Yes. So, in this episode, in the last episode, Christine and Janelle went out to North Carolina to pick up Ysabel, who's moving back to Salt Lake City. And so Maddie and her kids came along. Maddie's pulling the trailer. She's quite a she's, what's the word I'm looking for? She's not afraid to get in there and do stuff.
Well, my question is, how is she getting back? Is she going to have to drive back by herself with 2 little kids being pregnant? All the way back, like 30 hours? Ugh.
Or maybe Caleb flew out to drive back with her. Or Janelle drove back with her and flew back. I don't know.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
I don't think there's someone has to be with her. There's no way you can handle that. Yeah.
Well, and I started thinking about how, they made that trip in 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
And, it took the Browns 5 days to go half that distance.
Yeah.
When they would all travel with Kody and all the flat tires and it took them to get to when they were escaping to Las Vegas, something that should have taken, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours, took about 17 hours or something.
Yeah. Well, I think Maddie figured out long ago that if she wants to get somewhere fast, she's got to be the one in charge.
Yeah. All these women learn the importance of maintaining your cars, getting new tires when you need to. All that's very, very important.
Yes.
So, Maddie and Janelle are going to take a little side trip over to Montana because Caleb and Maddie were looking for maybe buying some property in Montana to build on, and Janelle wants to go along for the ride and be part of this.
And so the property they looked at, I'm just like, you're out in the middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere.
There's nobody. I mean, I understand the desire to want to have space and you want this land. And I don't know what it is with these people where they feel like, we got to get land and we got to build on it and we got to do this. It's like, why? Why do we have to do this? And there was like nothing there.
Well, think about it. There's no utilities. I don't know if there's a well. There was a little creek. They called it a river, but it looked more like a little.
They're like, it's a year-round creek. I'm like, I don't even know what a year-round. What's a year-round creek? Like, what is
water's flowing
all year. But Okay.
the mountains, I guess. Well, the mountains behind the land looked nice, but the land was just kind of dirt and dried up grass.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And 40 acres? Why do you need 40 acres?
How are you going to maintain that? How are you going to get utilities? That's just way too much. You have these little kids. And also, they're talking about driving into town, which is the town's 1,000 people. Well, what kind of school do they have in that town? Is it like Little House on the Prairie, like schoolhouse with, kids ranging from kindergarten to 12th grade, all 35 of them? I mean, that's a bit much.
Well, the best was when Janelle said, she's like, yeah, and the real estate agent's so nice. She met us out there. I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
She finally got somebody who's interested in this land. Yeah, of course. I was like, oh, she's meeting these real estate agents, even if they are on it. Trust me, they want to sell something. And I just thought she just seems so like, oh, that's so nice how they're coming. I'm like, weren't you a real estate agent yourself? Janelle, like, why is this so
foreign to you?
Yeah. Like, oh, wow, she's here. I'm like, I bet you anything Janelle probably didn't show up to her own things. Or maybe she was,
Yeah,
she wasn't such a hustler.
I bet you she sold less than 5 houses in her whole career.
Yeah.
But on the way up there, the conversation in the car is quite interesting. And so, before this, there's some talking heads about, Janelle's basically saying that her relationship with Kody is over, and Christine is really trying to get information out of her. And she says the woman doesn't share much.
Mm-hmm.
So she's later they talk more about it, but Christine really wants like a definitive answer.
Well, I also feel like I think that Janelle keeps sort of, I understand that Janelle, maybe this is private or she doesn't want to share this stuff with Christine, but you are on this TV show.
Yeah.
So, okay.
You got to share it with us.
But the other thing too is that she keeps saying like, oh, Christine wants me to be like her. Christine wants me to, do this. And it's like, no, Janelle, you know what? Everybody's confused. Everybody is confused about what it is that's going on here. Because basically what she really is she's ghosting Kody.
Yeah.
She's just ghosting him.
But she has to walk a fine line because she wants to get her money out of that property and her money out of Robyn's house that she put down. So she can't piss Kody off too much. She has to, she keeps trying to text him and bring it up with him. And, it's a waste of breath. I mean, she just needs to just take legal action, which we don't really find she brings it up in this episode. And we'll talk about that. But there's a lot
because I have some questions about that when we get there.
There's a lot more she could be doing, waiting for Kody to text her back.
Yes.
Like, this is not the right plan of attack. So she's saying that, the note is due in 6 months. Cody's not taking any action. He has no plan. And Janelle's name is on 2 of the lots. So remember that. But then they cut to Kody saying he doesn't trust Janelle. So that's why he's not telling her anything. Yeah. And that he doesn't want to disclose info that will run through the gossip mill of his broken family. So that's why he's ignoring her. And, he's just going to do what he's going to do. Yeah. On his own. He's not going to consult anyone.
Well, yeah, I'm still very confused about how all these lots are divided. Like, why? I understand why Kody is on each of them, but I don't quite understand. Like, why does Christine have 1 and this person has 2? Is it because of the size?
Well, I think they were trying to divide them equitably. And here's the thing. Over the years, when they've been talking about Coyote Pass, you see different maps. So this map that we saw in this episode had only 4 parcels. In the past, they would show maps that had like 5 parcels. And that was because that was their future plan, because they wanted to do a lot line, boundary line adjustment to create another parcel that they could build on and then rent a house on.
That's right. Yeah.
But
because someone would just love to live in the middle of nowhere with this plural family.
Yeah. But that never happened because you have to pay off the land before you can do anything like that. So that was the hypothetical lot. So now they're dealing with what they really actually have, which is 4 lots. And Kody is on all of them. And Janelle is on 2 of them. So now Janelle keeps talking about, well, I have no legal rights because we're not married. No, Janelle, that's why you need to go to a lawyer, because that is completely untrue. If you own property, you're on the deed to property with anybody, you have the right to force a sale of the property.
I have a question. Does Janelle have any legal recourse because part of Janelle's money from her house, selling her house in Vegas, went into Robyn's home. So does she have any claim on that?
Well, that's a little more complicated because there's nothing in writing. At least the land, you're writing, you're on the title. With the money that she gave, I don't think there's a writing. But you can have an implied contract. You can have an oral contract. There are exceptions to that. Certain types of contracts have to be in writing to be enforceable. And, the laws vary from state to state. But she definitely has legal rights. She has a lot of legal rights. So I hope she has since done something. I think this moving is precipitated by Kody needing money to pay off Janelle and to pay off the land. Because he probably has a lot of equity in that house. And he thinks, okay, well, I'll just sell this house. I'll make a big down payment on another house and then just start paying that mortgage. Because they're constantly moving and shifting this money around anyway. That's what they did in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
They got into the houses with a big balloon payment and they said, well, we'll worry about that later. That's a tomorrow problem. They're always pushing stuff off, or at least Kody is.
Yeah.
Pushing stuff down the road. And he's a hustler.
Yeah. Well, he's also one of these people where, he's constantly looking back in time and rewriting history all the time. I mean, the other laugh out loud part for me was when he was saying that when Caleb and Maddie lived with them in Vegas, that was
he started crying.
I know, that was the best time of his life. And it's like, okay,
so why'd you leave?
Yeah, it was so good. And then why how did you guys get to this point? Because I don't think it was all Maddie deciding she isn't gonna, put up with you. It sounds like something happened that, she didn't feel like you were being consistent, or she, didn't like some of the things that you were saying about maybe some of the other siblings. I think a lot of this I think a lot of this has to do with Maddie being loyal to her siblings, to her, Garrison and Gabe.
Yeah. And her mother.
And her mom. Yeah.
Who's been there for her far more than Kody has. Yeah. No, it's, I get the feeling Maddie doesn't suffer fools, No.
Oh God, no.
She really doesn't. And she, when she was younger, she was, kind of whatever, but she actually grew up and matured pretty quickly and, takes her family very serious, her own, immediate family, her husband and her kids. She takes that seriously.
Yeah.
And she's not going to let anyone mess with it.
Yeah. Well, she's also a legend in this town. So.
She is a legend in North Carolina now. So, okay. So they must be doing this thing what they used to, what they did in the, not the look back, talk back, whatever, where they show them clips. I think it's the talk back.
Ah, okay.
I think that's what they're doing. Well, they've been doing this, but it's very obvious because after Kody makes that comment about, the gossip mill, Janelle's response is that, he tells, he leaks like a sieve and he always told me stuff about the other sister wives that he probably shouldn't have been telling me.
Yeah.
So, and she says she doesn't really want to be neighbors with Kody and Robyn, and she realized that she could do this anywhere in the country.
Yeah. She didn't have to do it next to YouTube yahoos.
Yeah. She doesn't have to do it on Coyote Pass. This land is full of, beautiful homestead-worthy land.
Yeah.
But Robyn still has high hopes. She would be neighbors with Even Christine, she would be
Yeah.
she'd be neighbors with.
Ay, this woman. Why do you need to be neighbors with these people so badly?
But, Janelle is also concerned about Meri. She's decided she doesn't want to build on the property. She's going to try to get her money out, and she wants to try to get, money out for Meri because...
Which I think is another way of her saying, this isn't fair. Like, things have not been fair, and Meri and I deserve our money back.
Exactly.
Yeah. She's not calling it out, but that's, that's what she's saying.
Yeah. And also Meri's money from the sale of her house also went to buy Robyn's house. So they're both in the same boat. And Robyn explains that, was this Robyn who said this? No, something about in the last 10 years, it's all about people wanting to have their separate estates, as opposed to prior to that, they would all work together to try to build up assets.
She was a little vague with this. It was a little bit like, well, we'd been, because again, I think just like what you're saying with the talkbacks, I think they were asking her direct questions. And I think her response to it was, oh, well, yeah, we commingled in the beginning, but these last 10 years, which is essentially, how long have you and Kody been married? I mean, that's a good chunk of your marriage.
Yeah, almost all of it.
Yeah. So that's a good chunk of time, So basically another way of saying it is once I came into the family couple of years later, things changed.
What's mine is mine.
Yeah.
It's no longer what's mine is yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because she's saying her house was just supposed to be this asset, this placeholder. They were going to park this money. They were going to park this equity, try to build equity. And then when the time came to build, that they would sell it. Well, if you're going to use that logic, then if you're not going to build on it, then you should sell it and divide it up.
Yeah.
Including the equity. You should sell that house and everyone takes what they put into it plus their equity. And
it's true too, because it's almost like right for Janelle and Meri, it's their investment. They invested in this home that appreciated. You're right. You're right.
Because it's been like 5 years or
however long they've been in Flagstaff. Has it been 5 years?
It's been a while. So, and they'll love this one. When they bought Robyn's house, Janelle suggested that all of their names should be on title to the house. And Kody said, no, this is important for Robyn. She needs to have her own estate. She needs to protect her interests. I mean, I have never seen someone talk out of both sides of their mouth more in my life.
Yeah. Well, and I think this is the other thing I think we're really seeing, especially with Janelle, is I don't think Kody was aware of how much shit these women put up with him. Do you know what I mean? I think that the thing is that I think he was bebopping along like a lot of men. He was bebopping along thinking, my wives love me. This is great. But, it's wonderful. Yeah. I'm the center of attention, all of this other kind of stuff. And now all of this stuff's coming out. And it's like Janelle's essentially saying that, like, this guy, when he showed up to my house every third night, was a goddamn bother.
Yeah.
He was annoying. And it was like having an annoying,
house guest.
House guest, like the house guest from hell, who has allergies to everything, who's, disrupts the flow of things. And I think that he thought he was more important to these women than he is. And I think that's really what this is about is, Kody, they don't need you as much as you think they do.
Yeah.
You need them. You need them.
Yeah. And guess what? They are loyal. They were only staying out of loyalty. And it was only when you started fucking with their kids, when you would not go to Ysabel's surgery, when you wanted to kick Garrison and Gabe out of their home during COVID, that it was like, that's a bridge too far. So they were very loyal, for a very long time. I mean, what would Robyn do if he tried to kick Dayton or Aurora or Brianna out of the house? I mean, I don't know.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. He never would, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
That is again back to this problem. I don't know if Kody thought that these women were just going to keep rolling along and kind of put up with his crapola
Apparently.
forever and ever and ever. But again, I really do think that he mistook their kindness and their desire to have happy, well working
Family.
homes and families over how much they really liked you and how much they really, didn't want to deal, they didn't really want to deal with you.
Him.
Yeah. They're sick of him and his shit. And I'm sure he also makes terrible investments.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're pissed too about the money situation beyond sort of these things of investing money, just, Janelle giving up her house money to put into Robyn's place is, I think it's just all of the crappy decisions, just, and the fact that they should be farther along.
Yeah. Yeah. They've made
financially.
They've made a lot of money. And so, Janelle points out that Kody keeps buying assets.
Yes.
Trailers, artwork. Robyn's house was always so nice. Everything was kept up. The backyard was finished. So he's putting, and now that those pictures came out, because I don't know, they probably haven't been in his house in years. The only person who's been in there is Meri was there for Thanksgiving, but that was a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't been inside his house because they never, they don't go there for holidays. They don't film in there. And it was only when that real estate listing came out that everyone went, what?
Mm-hmm.
He has these people on TikTok are adding up, the value, the hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of artwork. And that's when the lawyers stepped in. And I think that's what spurred Christine on too. She was probably like, what? She's
Interesting.
not getting any.
Yeah, I didn't even make that connection. I didn't even make the connection, but you're absolutely right. She must have looked at the photos.
Yeah.
And been like, wait a second, this guy's been crying poverty to me.
Yeah.
And I've been paying for everything for our kid.
Right.
All these years.
She has young adult kids who we know cost a lot of money. Ysabel being in college, you have to support her and help support her and all that. So it's not just Truly. I mean, Truly's when she can legally get support for, but, he's not supporting, Ysabel or Gwen.
Yeah.
I mean, anyway, that was really dumb. I don't for them to put that. They should have made it like a private thing, like a private listing.
Yeah,
but dumb to put that on the internet.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I guess this is what celebrities do, right? Is they do these private listings.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a $1.6 million house. You have to make a certain amount of money in order to afford that. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's not people really looking on Zillow.
Yeah, it's not someone who's looking for a starter home, like a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, for $400,000.
So Robyn, though, she's just very confused because first she's like, well, how do you figure out what Janelle is owed now that she wants something? Well, and it's called math. What we just talked about, how much money you put in, how much the house is appreciated or the land is appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says that, she's a pro at budgeting because, before her divorce, she wasn't very good at it, but then she learned how to do it. And Janelle just must have had a very different priority of where her money went.
Yeah.
Than Robyn did.
Yeah. Well, I've often said this, that I always felt like, Janelle has a lot of boys. Those boys eat. And this whole thing about everyone having the same budget is ridiculous. Yeah. Utterly ridiculous. When everyone has different number of kids, different number of everything. It's unreal.
Yeah. And also her kids, Logan and Hunter both went to college and graduate school. They both have graduate degrees. So, again, it's expensive to support young adults.
Yeah.
Especially if they're in college.
Yeah.
And she said, Janelle said that, her kids were pissed and nobody blames them. And then Kody starts getting into, the trash talking and the gossiping. And he claims that Maddie cut off contact with him because he got tired of her calling him up fishing for gossip.
And you know what I think these conversations were? Like, hey, Dad, what's going on? How are you? What's
Robyn?
happening? Like, how are things? What's happening? Oh, Gabe called me the other day and Gabe was telling me, listen, is that really what's going on? Is that really fishing for gossip? That's like, you're in a family. Families talk to each other. You have a lot of siblings. These siblings are going to talk to each other. So I don't think you tell me things about our parents and I might call up one of them and be like, what's going on? Like, what's happening? That's not fishing for gossip. That's like catching up with someone.
Yeah. And especially when people are going through hard times, you want to try to make it better.
So,
and then Robyn says that if Janelle moved, it would devastate her. And then she calls herself an idiot again.
Yeah.
She called herself an idiot like 2-3 times in the last 2 episodes.
Yeah. She and Kody just have zero awareness. They really, truly have no awareness. I truly think these two people thought they were bebopping along. Everything was working well for them. And they kind of thought, and they're shocked that all of these people are coming around going, well, this isn't going to work for me. And so they're both really so stuck in this place of thinking, wait a second, life was great. Life was good. And now you're all just, you're going to go? Wait, huh? How? Like the two of them cannot possibly for one iota think about just maybe what it was like for Christine or what it was like for Janelle. Like or Meri. And, that's the part that just blows me away is either they are pretending for the cameras. They really know what's going on and they're pretending for the cameras or they truly have zero awareness.
Yeah.
Zero.
Well, we'll get to Meri in a second.
Yeah.
So we go back to Christine and, she says again, his relationship with his kids was bad before she left, that she had nothing to do with that and he can still try to fix it. And they just every time they come back to Kody after he hears these confessions, I guess, he's just so angry about the way he's been treated. People are trash talking him. The wives are saying things about him to the kids. It's like, this is so old. Like, okay, move on. Like, figure out a way to fix these relationships instead of just complaining. So then we go to Aspyn's house because Ysabel, she's throwing Ysabel a welcome home party and Hunter is there. And I noticed, I think this whole family's on Ozempic because this was a pre-Ozempic get together.
Oh, who else besides Mykelti and Tony do you think?
I think Christine. I think even Ysabel, Aspyn, Mitch. They all look very different now. I mean, obviously Mykelti's pregnant, but she got on the Ozempic too. No shame. I'm not shaming anybody.
Yeah.
It's just because we're 2 years behind. It's like, it's just noticeable, And Christine says she loves being single.
Oh, yes.
But not for long. She's been on a few dates, but nothing serious. And then Peyton comes in and they explain that he lives in Ogden, Utah. It's about an hour away. And he tells the story about how he stumbled into a gentleman's club.
Yes.
And
he had no idea it was a gentleman's club. Zero idea. The naked woman saying, boo, boo.
The dollar bill.
None of that. But there's flashing signs outside, neon signs that make it very clear what this is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Peyton, please.
Oh, Peyton. I don't know. I have kind of a soft spot for Peyton. I'm trying to figure him out because I feel like people either just ignore him or just bag on him. But on Instagram, there was a post Janelle took. She's like, oh, I'm here with Peyton at the airport. We're in North Carolina. I guess this past week, Maddie and Janelle went on a trip to Hawaii. I think it was one of their Plexus trips that they won. And Peyton flew out to North Carolina to help Caleb take care of the kids.
Oh, that's nice.
While he worked.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
It is nice. I mean, Kody won't do that.
God, no, are you kidding me?
And Kody doesn't even have a job. Peyton's got a job.
Peyton had to take a week off.
Yeah,
Gentleman's Club.
from the Gentleman's Club. Yes,
time off approved.
Well, if everyone can remember 2 years ago when we watched that, I can't even remember that guy's name, John something, who had the 4-way conversation with Peyton. That was so bizarre.
The 3-hour interview.
Yeah, but Peyton mentioned the strip club then. And what's funny about him is it's almost kind of like, because this family is so conservative, because a bit sheltered. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, ooh, a strip club. Like, oh, Peyton's working. Like, he was so delighted with himself. So like, ooh, I'm doing something so edgy.
Yeah.
So like,
so
look
cool.
at me. I'm the edgy one. So I think he likes that role. I'll be honest. I think he just like, I think that's kind of like, that's sort of how he sees himself. And that's what he's, that's how he is. But it's very kind of him to fly out there. And
I just wish I knew more about him. Like, he's the only thing I know about him is allegedly, like, he and Gwen like had some, I don't know if he was really mean to her when they were growing up or whatever, but she just like
something went down.
Something went down, and it's pretty bad. It's lasted all this time. So then Christine, she still needs to get to the bottom of what's going on with Janelle. So she drives all the way to Flagstaff to talk to her about it.
Yes.
And film
the producers are like, we need to film some scenes.
Yeah. And she comes in, Janelle has a festive fall wreath on her on her door.
Yes.
And God, that apartment is so small.
And that's the bigger one. This is the new one.
This is
the upgrade. Yeah.
I know. Oh my gosh. I mean, she doesn't even have room to, like, she's got like appliances stacked on the floor. She has some kind of stationary bike in the corner of the dining room.
Poor thing.
Poor thing. Yeah. I mean, hence why she needs to get her money. So yeah, she says she has questions. So Janelle is saying that she really just wants to ask Kody to buy her out. It's just not feasible for her to stay there. And she just wants a piece of land, a garden, and a few animals.
Again, so I'm saying 5 acres max.
Yeah.
Like, that's a 5-acre dream, not 40.
5 acres is a lot.
Okay, 3 acres. 3 acres. Like, she wants to get some, right? You know exactly what she wants to do. She wants a little garden. She wants some chickens, maybe a goat.
Just
4 acres.
Little modest little cabin.
Yeah. Yeah. You can find that. You don't have to be out in the middle of nowhere. And why do you even need all that acreage? Like,
yeah,
why?
what are you going to do? You're not like a rancher. I mean,
well, the other thing too is no one's ever going to develop out here. Do you know what I mean? Nothing. Yeah. And then, God forbid something happens with one of those kids.
Yeah.
You're out in the middle of nowhere, and then 1,000 people.
Or you probably have to drive more than an hour to get to a hospital, because the 1,000-person town does not have a hospital.
Yeah.
They said it was Ennis, Utah. I don't know if that's the name of the small town or that's the closest, big town. But anyway, no, it's too much. And yeah, Janelle is like, has she learned nothing from, this Coyote Pass experience?
No, she hasn't. That's the other thing about Janelle is
I know.
Janelle can make me a little crazy sometimes, because it's just, and they drove, and I don't think that was like, oh, a producer wanted them to go look at that land. I'm like, no, I think they drove, they said 5 hours. Yeah. They drove 5 hours out there and looked at that and really considered this. It's just, what? Are you in, I mean, I'm glad they didn't choose it, but they don't get this at all.
Yeah.
I mean, she was 2 seasons ago out in the middle of nowhere not out in the middle of nowhere, in that RV.
Right.
On the land. Again, a really dumb choice.
Yeah, not
what to do. That was not smart at all.
Yeah, she spent I don't know where I got this number from, like $85,000 on that.
Yeah.
RV.
To prove a point.
Right.
I hope she sold it.
I don't think those things have real great resale value. It's like buying a car,
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
So, but she did point out something that's very obvious, but I'd never really, heard it out loud before that, she said Kody hates, he would not want to live he grew up on a farm, does not want to, or a ranch, cattle ranch. He does not want to live on the farm. He's a city guy.
Yeah.
He wants a fancy car and a big job, and, he wants to tool around with the top down. And, and it's like, that's true. So that's what makes it kind of weird. Like, why was he into Coyote Pass? I mean, he had that dream of all, one big family, everybody living there. But Psych Legal Pop will be right back after these messages.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.
Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
And then she says if Kody won't buy her out, she's going to have to lawyer up. And like I said, she thinks she doesn't have any legal rights, but
she does. So
not the case.
At the end, so this is the end of 2022, but we have not heard any inkling about her getting a lawyer between then and now.
Well,
I have a feeling that, if she went in on that 126 acres in North Carolina, because she says, that she and Maddie and Caleb bought this property. So she must have gotten some money.
So you think it's possible maybe there was no record of it? Like, do you think it's possible she hired a lawyer and the lawyer maybe put together a letter, right? Like saying, this is what we want. This is what we're demanding.
Like a demand letter. Yeah.
A demand letter, basically. And Kody was like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to have to pay. I'm going to have to pay her. Or, maybe that's how it all came out. And that's why we don't hear about it.
Right.
We're not hearing. It's not very public.
If she had filed a lawsuit against him, we would have heard about it.
Yes.
How quickly.
So yeah. So, I mean, I think that maybe they just had a demand letter. Maybe it was just, and I know that with lawyers, like sometimes just having a lawyer write a letter is enough for people. It scares the crap out of people. Well, and
Kody too, he doesn't want to be put through that, be drugged through that. It's bad for his image. It's bad for the brand. It's bad for everything.
And wouldn't he have to show us his finances?
Well, not if they not in the custody child support case. Yes, we'll talk about that. But like in this case, let's say they had an appraisal and they came to an agreement and they said, okay, we believe the parcel's worth this much. We're going to offer you this much to buy out. And then he just says, okay, or they negotiate to come up with a number. And that's why I think he had to pull money out of the home with Robyn to pay her off.
And so maybe right now they have a mortgage they can't pay any longer. It's possible if they've refinanced.
Possibly, but I don't think they're downsizing. I've heard from, other Sister Wives World, sources that they're trying to buy a bigger house.
Oh, really? Wow.
Like closer to town, but a bigger, more expensive house. But who knows if that's
how?
True. I don't know.
I don't know how they're going to be able to do that, but okay.
I don't know, but they still got all those kids living at home. They don't seem to be going anywhere. They have to have enough space for all those kids. And Dayton is living in an RV, like outside, the backyard. And maybe they want to.
He'd like to be inside now. Dayton wants to live indoors now.
Yeah, the winters in the RV are just getting old. So,
right.
Yeah, no, something that's my opinion. Something happened. They did settle. They did settle out. So then, okay, then we got Meri talking about how, she wants to be unsealed from Kody. She doesn't want to be
Yes.
sealed to him for all of eternity. And I don't blame her for that. And Kody says he's not interested in his former faith, but he doesn't want to disparage it, although he does call it BS.
Yeah. So you're disparaging it.
Exactly. And then he brings up again, he's all over the place. He's just complaining about how, no one wanted to conform to patriarchy. He's outside. Now he's outside on the deck. He's off script. He's out of the confessional.
But I think that was weren't they showing us an old thing? That was an old episode, right? Where he's like, I'm going to run my house. Like
that one. But then there was another scene where he's rambling.
Oh, yes. Where he gets the camera. Yes.
Yeah, he's filming himself.
Yeah. It's almost kind of like, I got something to say.
Right.
Let me get the camera.
Let me get my tripod.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Where he's having these confessionals.
And he's talking about how, he says that this is a rule of his religion that he's not allowed to get a divorce. Only women can do that. Only they can leave. So basically he admits that he just made Meri's life so miserable, for 10 years until she finally just quit, and,
I find it hard to believe that the men couldn't just decide they wanted out. This is such a male
patriarchy.
It's a patriarchy.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, there's an out. There's gotta be, because I find it hard to believe in all these years that all these men, that none of them ever turned and went, I don't want to be married to this one anymore. I don't want to be sealed to this one anymore. I want out, and figured out a way out.
Oh, I'm sure there is. You can go to the church and you can say exactly that. I don't want to be with this person because of whatever. And if they think that's a good reason, then they'll let you out and maybe rehome the other wife.
But I just find it hard. It's like, no, there's no way this religion was going to let women be in control of anything. Trust me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And it just, it took Meri a long time to, get the message. And then he starts going back in time saying that, he didn't really know who she was when they got married, which, they were...
Meaning Meri.
Meri, yeah. And which makes sense. They were very young. They got engaged after 2 months. And then he says all these kind of coded things.
Yeah, this was interesting.
That she was different after the wedding, and that she came to the marriage with a lot of baggage that he didn't know about before, but he thought that he could deal with. And that she was constantly angry at him, and that's why he had to bring in Janelle to dilute that anger from Meri, and then Meri just put that towards Janelle, and then they became dysfunctional, and then he had to bring in Christine to get in between them, and then everything was great.
Yeah. So let's break down exactly what he's saying here, because so basically he's saying she was one kind of person in the beginning, right? Like before we got married, which we hear about this all the time. And again, which is why you need to know someone longer than a couple months, because people can fake it for a couple months. They can't fake it for a full calendar year. Trust me. Yeah. So obviously she put on a different, attitude. I wonder if Meri got into this marriage and she also was deeply unhappy, or she didn't like it, or none of it worked, or, and then instead of both of them being able to communicate with each other, that she just started to be mean. Yeah. Just started to be mean towards him.
Well, yeah, that there's a good theory there that maybe, so Meri was raised in this religion. And so, she felt like she had to go along with it. And they have said many times that they discussed that they were going to live plural marriage before they got married. Now, mind you, Kody is brand new to this.
Yeah.
Remember, he's on his mission. He comes home and he converts. And then, I don't know, a few months later, he's engaged to Meri. So this is his first experience with this plural marriage stuff at all. He didn't see it growing up. He didn't know anything about it. And she's probably thinking, oh, he doesn't really mean that. He's not going to really do the plural marriage, because she's extremely jealous. Like she always has been. I mean, I think like worse than Christine. And remember on their anniversary trip where, I mean, this was it 20 years? No.
Are you talking about like the first episode when they went to Lakai?
Yeah.
So sad that we can remember that.
Yeah. It was in the very beginning. And she's talking about how, you know, she's had these jealous feelings for years. And it's like, look, if you guys are in a solid plural marriage relationship, you are not like going over this stuff on your 20th anniversary. It didn't make sense. You know, it's like I think she has been jealous the entire time. She didn't really want to live plural marriage, but she wanted to be with Kody.
Yes. Well, yes. I agree with that.
But then he also said,
I'm just thinking about something else, but keep going.
But he also said this thing about baggage.
Yes. Oh, sorry. That was what I was trying to remember. Like,
what baggage?
So then that makes you think, did something go on in Meri's family of origin? Was there abuse? Was there this? Again, we don't know much about her family. We know her sister passed away. Bonnie seems real nice, but is it possible that there was something more that was going on with Meri that contributed to all this? And maybe she went to Kody and was like, you know, needing help or wanting that support. And he just he didn't know what to do. So he's like, let me get another wife or something like that.
Yeah, this is too much to take.
Yeah. So maybe Meri never wanted to live it, but she felt like she needed to marry someone in the religion, and that she then picked Kody because she's like, okay, this guy's just got here.
Yeah.
He's never going to want to have more wives. And that each wife was there to kind of break up something that wasn't working because of Meri. So, and Kody was very vocal about this. He told Meri exactly what he was doing and why. So
yeah, and maybe it has something to do with the brother that Janelle married.
Yes, and I do want to get back to this Janelle not wanting to get divorced, because she has been before. That is it. All of that's very interesting, but they didn't go to Meri and ask Meri about any of that.
No.
Which is kind of a bummer.
It seems too mean, because he was being mean. He was saying she wasn't nice, she wasn't fun, she wasn't kind, she wasn't interesting.
Yes.
And then he said that she kicked him out, and that all of his wives had kicked him out. And then, he just goes, he goes down a rabbit hole of, Robyn's always been a loyal wife, and his loyalty is to her, and everyone's on their own journey, and he hopes everyone is happy.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that was quite a ride. Kody.
Well, I'm sorry, Meri, but like, I agree with Kody that I think she is kind of boring. I mean, if you've ever watched those Friday with Friends or watched any of the stuff for the Worthy Up, she's super boring. Like she's not cool. She's not interesting. She's not any of those things. But what I wonder is that maybe she came across very different, like very, very different than, maybe she was someone who was interested in a lot of stuff and, talked about these things. I wish we knew more. But I mean, to call someone boring, that's not fun. Boring. That's
harsh.
It's pretty harsh.
Or tore her down.
And
maybe they're saving that for the, the look back, talk back things. They're going to spring that video on her, and she's just going to be Meri. Like blow a gasket. Poor Meri. I know she. I feel like Meri's really trying, and she's just. I don't know.
Yeah, poor Meri.
So anyway, they mention Janelle's going to go to Logan and Michelle's house for Thanksgiving. Hunter is now living in Las Vegas. And they talk about a big event, a big family event that's coming up. And I'm not sure.
Is that Gwen's wedding or engagement?
At first I thought, is that Logan's wedding? I don't know where we are in time. I can't remember when Logan got married. It's either his wedding or it's Gwen's. Oh, Gwen has that engagement party.
I think it's that.
Prior to the wedding or wedding reception that was on that rooftop.
Yeah.
Then, God, this episode just keeps delivering.
Yes. It does. It does. Keep going, because I have something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you want to say something about that?
No, but keep going, because my brain is foggy. So keep going.
So then we were circling back to the text chain.
Oh God, yes, the text chain was
Christmas
brought up.
text chain from last year. And God, Robyn says that her older kids said that it was emotionally unsafe
Mhm.
and they had to draw a boundary.
I hate text chains. I really do. I hate being
I
on a
do
group.
too.
I hate being on group texts.
And you
I
can't
hate
get
it.
out of them. They're hard to get out of.
Because then the two people, then if it's three people, like two people are talking to each other and it's like, bing, 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 bing. And you're trying to work or you're trying to do things, bing, bing, bing. And it's like, no, you two are having a conversation. Bring me in later. Like, stop. Don't talk about this now. But I hate text chains. So I find them all unsafe, quite frankly. I hate them all.
And, Robyn's making, and her girls, now we see Aurora and Brianna, which I thought this was, go ahead. What did you
I was going to, well, first off, Brianna looks just like her mother.
She has the same negative energy.
Yes, she does. But what do you think? Aurora is my least favorite person in this family. I cannot stand her. So I can understand people wanting to distance themselves. I find there is no way that happened. I just don't believe it.
They showed us video footage. They showed us footage of all the kids, welcoming them and getting along and this and that.
I feel like if there was really this issue, if this really happened, it would have been on the show, number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, I think that it wouldn't have been a bunch of people. It would have been like one and maybe one person who maybe is pissed. Mm-hmm. Or two people that are pissed.
And they're probably the teenagers, the ones who were the teenagers at the time. That was a hard time. They're blending a family. Like, that's a really, really hard time. And they were trying to blend the family, but is it always 100% perfect? No.
Yeah.
Was Hunter upset for about a year? Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like you can't blame these kids who are in this position because of their parents' choices.
Well, and here's the thing, and I think this tells you a lot about Robyn. And is that if someone said that to Aurora, then it was probably one of the teenagers said out of anger, out of frustration, out of something. And that in that moment, right, Robyn, instead of her doing what a parent should do, which is like, listen, they didn't mean it and let's work this out and let's talk about this and all of that. She decides to almost like bank it or like hold on to it and then make and then really get Aurora to dig in on it. Because I got the sense that Brianna didn't agree with this. I think Aurora, I swear to God, this girl could fall into a cult so easily. I think you can tell Aurora anything and she will go along with it.
Yeah, her eyes are vacant.
Yeah, there's nothing there. That's why I can't. She has no personality.
Yeah.
I cannot. That's why I really, because she doesn't have thoughts of her own. That's what makes me crazy about her. So
both of them. Robyn has brainwashed them and they both look like they're in a cult. Well, puts them on that couch and they have a preset, pre-practiced speech that they give. Aurora says, "My mom's kids and I have been told multiple times by multiple people we are not accepted. We're not considered to be their sister." Mm-hmm. I mean, come on.
Well, yeah. And then we hear from Christine saying Truly had no idea they weren't even biologically part of the family. So, yeah. So if Truly was, I don't know how old Truly was when she realized that, then she was born right at that time. She was there. So isn't she the test case of whether or not the family blended? Wouldn't she be the one to tell you whether or not it was like this or not? And it's like, no. It wasn't, but I do think that Robyn held on to that and like decided, ooh, I'm going to bank this. I'm going to bank this comment and I'm going to be able to use it. Yeah.
She uses it to make people feel bad. And then she makes them memorize these, lines. Like Brianna said, the parents didn't really connect them as a family or something.
Yeah. The parents, she basically saying that the parents failed in this. Right.
And not Robyn, though. Yeah. Because they did it to Robyn's kids. Yeah. So she's the victim. Oh, that kills me. And remember when, was it Gabe who said, because Gabe and Aurora are in the same.
Yeah. They saw each other at school. They gave each other big hugs.
Yeah.
All of it. So.
Okay. So I think we can wrap this up. There was like, they talk about, Kody's back again. He says, there are some people in my family who feel like they are superior to others. And we're not going to include them in our club. I'm going to move forward and find happiness and joy outside of my club. It was my club and I got kicked out of it.
Yeah, that was this whole thing of the response of like, basically, he's created a new narrative, a new story, which is that this group, which is basically Janelle and Christine and their kids, that they're the cool kids and that they isolated poor Aurora and Dayton and Brianna.
Yeah.
And made them feel terrible. And, Kody got kicked out of this club too. And so that's why, now I'm going to it's almost like, so you've rejected me. So I'm going to reject you now. And I'm going to take my ball and go home. And I'm not going to play with you anymore. I mean, he is so transparent and so just childish. It's unbelievable that he like, cannot see.
Poor me, Yeah.
He takes zero responsibility, not one iota of like, maybe in some way, shape or form, did you think that you can contribute to this? It's just, it goes beyond me. But is this where Janelle and Christine are on the couch talking? And I mean, again, I'm with Christine on some of this stuff. Like Christine's asking questions like, well, so are you going to tell Kody that this is what you're doing? And Janelle's like, no, I don't talk to him. I don't talk to him at all. I don't, and Janelle's pissed at Christine because Christine's asking these questions. It's like, Janelle, she's just trying to understand what's happening here because Meri pointed out something really important. Which is,
Yeah, I also think it has to do with the money. I think Janelle thought that she could get what she wanted out of Kody if she just treaded lightly enough.
Okay.
And she just kind of, kept bugging him, but not too much, that she was going to get the result that she wanted. And when she figured out she wasn't, she moved on.
So she publicly didn't want to say, hey, I'm done. This guy's out. I want to get away from this. That she's sort of riding this line as a way of like, okay, if Kody ever sees any of these episodes, he'll know,
she's trying not to piss him off.
Yeah.
She's trying to just exist and try to, but
she wants nothing to do with him. Right. She also doesn't want to talk to him, deal with him, or ever again. And
he also said he didn't trust her, and he was not going to talk to her about the language. So,
but he's desperate to have her back. I don't trust her. I can't stand her. But please come back and live next door to me.
Yeah, because there is a scene from an upcoming episode that was teased in the trailer where he's like, "What about us?
Yes,
what about you and me." So,
well, have we gotten to the part where Meri points out something that was like, "Oh yeah." I never saw this before. I'm like, okay, Meri, look at you making some connections about the fact that basically Janelle is doing to Kody what Kody did to Meri, which is basically just ghosting.
Like, go away.
Like gray rocking, ghosting, whatever you want to call it. Just like, you're not in my life. And I'm just going to pretend until you get the hint and go away. But of course, Kody can't potentially at all see that. So...
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's the episode.
Okay.
So let's talk about this
this lawsuit, because
paternity child support custody lawsuit. So I think that it's a combination of things. I think that brought this on. I think seeing inside that house was one of them. I also think that Christine has been away from these people and kind of outside of all this polygamy stuff now long enough that she's had people say to her, look, you really need to do this. Like, this isn't fair. This isn't right. And maybe Kody's been promising her that he's going to give her money and he never does. And also, I think he's not really spending much time with Truly. He's really, broken some promises to her or said he's going to come, or he comes and it's just like a pass through.
Yeah.
And she just doesn't feel comfortable. And, so I think a lot of people have been telling her and encouraging her to do this, and that just thinking about all that and then seeing all the money that he's spending on art and nothing on his child just was kind of the final straw.
Yeah. Okay. So, but I didn't understand how all of this worked because they were never legally married. Yes, they had this child together. Okay. But didn't she take Truly out of the state and just left? I mean, don't you, if you want child support, don't you then have to offer up like,
No.
okay, no,
No.
you don't have to offer up like, visitation with your kid.
He can get visitation.
So that's two separate things. Sorry.
Yeah.
So visitation, that's a separate issue than the child support.
Well, it's part of custody. It's an element of child custody.
Okay.
Well, let's just start with the premise that paternity had never been established. And I've been saying this all along, that Kody is not on any of these kids' birth certificates. Maybe Leon. Maybe, because they were legally married and the child is born. You are presumptively the father if you are married to a woman and she gives birth within like 300 days of, the marriage or something like that. If you're not married, what happens is normally these women all have their kids at home. When you have a baby in the hospital, they say to you, okay, is the father here? And it's like, if you're married, you fill out some paperwork and you say, yeah, I'm married to this person, or no, I'm not married. This is the father. But the father signs a declaration of paternity, right there in the hospital, or they don't, or they're not there. So then the birth certificate is blank if there's no declaration of paternity.
Yes, but Truly was born in a hospital.
I know, which is shocking to me, because you would think of all these kids, she would be the one. But again, at this time when Truly is born, he's still legally married to
Meri.
He's, he's still paranoid about this polygamy stuff, which is why they don't put the kids' names on the birth certificate. But he had no problem later adopting 3 kids.
Yeah.
And basically, he forced Meri to get that divorce. He did.
Yeah. Yeah.
So first you have to establish paternity, which, what's he going to do? Deny it? I don't think we need to have a DNA test. We all watched it, it's like he should just sign a declaration of paternity. He should not fight that.
Yeah.
Okay. Then number 2 is the custody issue. So, when she moved with Truly to Utah, remember when they were having their discussions before she left, and he was like, well, we need to get some kind of custody arrangement before you leave in Arizona. Because he's, again, paranoid about Utah, that Utah's going to take his child away from him or something because he's a polygamist. And, that never happened. And so, you establish who has legal custody, who has physical custody. Is the person without physical custody going to get visitation? But also Truly's like 15. She can express what she wants, what she's comfortable with. And of course, they always do what's in the best interest of a child. And it's not really in the best interest of a child to force her to go out of state to see a dad who doesn't give a shit, really. So there's that. And then apparently in Utah, you can get, this is state by state law, but in Utah, you can get child support retroactive for 4 years.
Going back 4 years. Oh, so and is that what she's suing for the last 4 years? Okay.
Right. So she can get it going back 4 years and then going forward until Truly turns 18.
Got it.
Here's where he is probably going to settle with her on a child support amount, because otherwise he's going to have to disclose in a declaration signed under penalty of perjury all of his assets. And it's going to be part of the public record.
Oh my God. But do you think he would be dumb enough to just dig his heels in and say, no, I'm not going to do it?
I don't know. It's going to take him a while to get there. But ultimately, like, if he was my client, I'd be like, you do not want this stuff out there, because you are going to lose. You're going to lose on the money issue. The money issue is what it is. It's literally like a computer program. You punch in what each parent makes and you get certain adjustments for how many other people you support and that kind of stuff. And then the program spits out a number.
Okay.
So he's going to lose on that. It's not like he's going to not have to pay anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, he must be shaking in his boots right now.
Yeah.
This must be rough for him. And I'm wondering, the market out here in California has been, we're in Northern California, it's been rough. It's been the roughest I've ever seen it. Like usually houses just sell instantly. It's like boom, boom, boom. And I've seen homes. There's a home up the street from me that still they haven't sold. So I'm also wondering if they're going to be able to sell that house.
Yeah.
And how long it's going to take them. And if he might have to sell some of that artwork.
Yeah. And get this, if Christine, I don't know when her court date is, but so these things can take a while. If she gets a judgment for past child support and records it as a lien against that property before he has a chance to move, then that's going to have to be paid out of the proceeds. And then even if he moves to another place, she can put a lien on that property. So, isn't it great?
Yeah, good for you, Christine. Good for you.
Yeah. I saw something online. I don't know if this is on Reddit or something, but someone made a joke. They said, Janelle saying, I might have to lawyer up. Christine says, hold my beer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, and maybe also it was seeing the house, but do you think it's also possible? Well, no, maybe that's so long ago. I was just thinking like, oh, did she see Janelle hire an attorney and that really spurred Kody on, to help her get her money out? Maybe she thought, oh, okay, the only way this is ever going to happen is if I sue him. Because I would think that she had been having some kind of communication or conversations with him these last couple of years about money and needing money or wanting money or whatever it is from Truly. And maybe it's possible that he just kept kicking the can down the road. Like, yeah, we need to get a custody agreement. So once we get that together, I'll start paying you. Yeah, no problem. Just assuming that she wouldn't do what she's doing.
What
Again,
most people do. Yeah.
That's the thing. He treated these women like shit for so many years that he just assumed they were going to continue to eat his shit. And he is waking up and realizing, oh no, they're not gonna anymore.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oops.
And also, like, I really think, Christine was in that world for so long where you don't ask for anything. These men don't give you anything. They give you like crumbs and morsels. And then when she got into the real world, into the Wolf family. Yeah. You're all like, look, no, he needs to pay child support. This is how it works in the real world, Christine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
well, and I think that also shows you too, that world, that they allow men to treat women so poorly, so awfully for so many years that, that they just break them down. And
they're used to getting crumbs.
Yeah. Yeah. And he just, it's like, Kody's like, oh my God, you actually want the whole cookie? You don't want just crumbs? Oh no, you're a bad person. You're bad. You're evil. You're terrible. You're disloyal. I know he's such like the narcissist playbook. It's pathetic. It's not even original. There's nothing original about his narcissism at all. It's and just, it's so textbook.
Like how long is he going to go on just being like this terrible person on television? And how long can they keep doing this? I know we eat it up. We'll keep watching it, but it's like, this is their life. It's just this life of, I don't know, is it ever going to turn around with Robyn and Kody and get
I don't know.
better? They live in such toxic soup and negativity and
that's why Brianna looks so miserable all the time.
I know. She looks like a 50-year-old woman.
Yeah.
She looks haggard.
Yes.
Tired.
Yes. You know what? I'm sure that's why Dayton is in that RV. I bet you anything. He's like, oh no, I never want to be inside ever. I don't know.
They're like, oh, come on, Dayton, we'll buy a bigger house. And you can have your own wing of the house if you just come inside.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. I can't imagine. I cannot imagine. Wow. All right. Well, wrap us up.
Another good episode.
Yeah, this was a good episode.
So thank you for joining us. If you can, there's ways to support our podcast. We would appreciate it. Please subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already. If you like the podcast, you can also give us a 5-star rating and review or rating and review, whatever, on Apple Podcasts. And we also have a Patreon. Head over to patreon.com, search for Psych Legal Pop Podcast. And we have a couple different tiers of different bonus content over there. Go check it out. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.